Hi everyone, it's Rax. I just tested the Whirlwind power today, and my God, it surprised me so much. In fact, it is so much better than I thought it was. It might be my favorite power that I've tested for any class. Let me go through and explain to you why this is so overpowered, and hopefully get you excited to play this next season. So let's go back. Before the PTR even started, I gave my analysis on the patch notes, and I said the Whirlwind pull could be very useless and kind of stupid. And the reason why I said that was there's already a pull rune that exists in the game called Whirlwind Hurricane. If it acted like Hurricane, I thought it was going to be pretty useless. However, that is not how it acts. Hurricane pulls the monsters forward, and it does it a couple of times, and then they have diminishing returns, and then eventually they're immune to your pull, and then they stand still, and then what are you going to do, right? And the Whirlwind build already takes Spear to pull stuff forward, and already takes Stomp to pull it all together. So what exactly is this rune going to do for me? It didn't sound very good. But then I tried it today, and that is not what this power does. This power can pull anything in the game that is pullable. So you can't pull jugs, you can't pull bosses, you can't pull perennies, you can't pull trees, stuff like that. But anything else, you can pull infinitely, over and over and over. And this has so many advantages for Whirlwind. I think this is a massive, massive power increase. So first of all, pulling all the monsters forward all the time actually gives you a ton of survivability. If you're always pulling them and crowd controlling them, like they just keep hopping along and following you, they don't have any time to hit you. So I found myself being a lot more tanky. Also, this build does its damage based on area damage. The more monsters next to me, the more damage I deal. Now, when you watch this particular clear, I can't take really much advantage of this because the PTR is lagging so badly that I have to stop every once in a while and just kill the trash. Otherwise, I'm going to lag out of the game. But on live, if the servers are behaving, you could pull half of the map in the blink of an eye and start AoEing it down, and you could not only murder all the trash, but you would deal tremendous damage to the elites, which is this build's current weakness. You can see I'm killing elites just fine by pulling them along with their little friends all the time. So I am overall very, very impressed with Blizzard. So they announced, Whirlwind is going to pull enemies. And I was immediately thinking, oh, okay, it's going to have all the diminishing returns and it's not going to have any actual use. I wasn't too confident in it at all as a Barb main, and Barb being my favorite class. But no, they really surprised me. The way that it pulls and the fact that they were smart enough to take out the DR from it completely transforms this class. And I expect this rune to be potentially the best power you can take on most builds. Even if you take like Might of the Earth, for example, you could pull everything in a nice little pack and then leap quake it down, for example. Or maybe you take it for Raycore and stuff like that, as you can see how badly I'm lagging on the PTR. So because this rune or this new superpower pulls these monsters so well, I don't have to take Stomp anymore, and I don't have to take Spear, and actually I don't have either of them on my bars anymore. So now I take Furious Charge, which is not the most useful skill, but the reason that I took it is for a little bit more mobility, and I have to have something that procs my Band of Might. So if not Stomp, then you take Furious Charge. And then I take Threatening Shout Falter, which gives me 25% more damage. So I already went up like an entire tier of damage just by switching that skill right there. And I found this build very, very fun and satisfying to play, even in the extreme lag where I couldn't really take control of its power. I think on live, this is going to be so incredibly useful for your high-end pushes that I think you'll be able to get probably your best Whirlwind Barb clear ever if you decide to play this next season. And of course, this is going to be so easy for like speed farming Paragon, right? You literally drag everything with you. So even if you miss it, they're going to die one day. And if you get enough pickup radius on your Barb, maybe you can just always keep whirling forward. So let's talk about another thing that this build solves, which is something that practically no build ever in Diablo 3 can truthfully claim. When you play this build with this pulling power, you can actually pretty much play any map. It doesn't matter too much. Obviously, still a big open map with huge density is better, but I don't really care as much on this build if I open up a Keeps, for example, which sucks, or a Spaghetti, which is garbage, right? You want to know why? Because I can drag them forward pretty damn well through the entire map. Yeah, there's certain like really narrow corridors that slow me down. But other than that, you can really, really take control of the enemies here and kill them however you want to. And as you can see, my bar is looking quite juicy. I have not had a conduit here at all. And by the way, this is the rank 1 Whirlwind clear. I think it's overall rank 3 for Barb. But this was the rank 1 Whirlwind clear. But I could clear so many tiers higher than this, especially if I was not on the PTR, not lagging. This is a 127, but even at 1,000 Paragon, you're easily looking at like maybe a 135 clear already, which means if you really power up and really practice, you're going to at least get into the 140s for your clear next season. Super power. I mean, just look at this. Just look at the control I have over the monsters. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And you have such an easy time bringing all the density into the Oculus rings. I don't know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Barb fanboy. I love Barbs. They're my favorite class. I'm always like twice as excited for anything for Barb than any other class. But I've played most of the builds now, and I would say this power of just the infinite pulling and how it just pixels them for you, you feel like for once in your life you actually have so much control over the outcome of your rift. I feel like there's way less fishing on this build. Now, one thing, if you don't know this, if you're a veteran Whirlwind player, you're going to know this, but if you don't, keep in mind that you have to manually rend. See how I'm spinning around? If I just held down Whirlwind, I would be zipping along super fast, and that might be a strategy on live, like you pull everything together. But when you actually want to do damage, you have to press rend. And why? Well, if you hold down Whirlwind, Whirlwind never does any damage. Whirlwind does 0 damage in this build. But when you Whirlwind, it applies Rend, and Rend does all of your damage. However, when you're Whirlwinding and applying Rend that way, the Rend you apply does not apply area damage. And area damage is crucial to get these high-end clears. It's not crucial for speed farming to build your Paragon. You would just build your Barbarian where you just zip along and maybe you only manually rend one time on a yellow and that's it. Otherwise, you just hold down right click and destroy everything, right? But in this build, when you're pushing, you have to manually rend or you lose all of your area damage, which is pretty much all of your damage, right? So that's why do you see me like stutter stepping with it all the time? I'm constantly manually rending, applying area damage, area damage, area damage as I'm moving. One advantage in doing that is I keep killing monster here and there while giving like some decent damage to the elites as I drag them. There's 2 reasons why that's good. One is it gives you more consistent rampage stacks. If you have more rampage stacks from the passive, then you're going to be dealing way more damage consistently and surviving better. By the way, I have 0 points in vitality right here. I only have like 500,000 health. There's almost no build in the game that can actually play at this tier, at this low of a Paragon with 5,000, only 500,000 health and live. I mean, I'm totally fine. Like the boss is going to murder me because that's too bad. There's nothing I can really do about that. But these elites don't have a chance because, again, as I mentioned earlier, when you're constantly pulling them all the time, they don't have much of a chance to even attack you. But going back to the thought, not only do you have your rampage stacks up all the time as you manually rend as you move through the rift, but also you give yourself a much better chance to spawn pylons. When you're constantly dealing damage here and there and killing enemies here and there and slowly trickling up your progress bar as you unveil the pylons, you're going to get more of them, right? So here we go against Infernal Maiden. Now, I'm just too low of a Paragon, and I have way too low of health right here to survive against her. I do my best, but Whirlwind doesn't do very much damage to the boss. But Whirlwind does stack Stricken incredibly fast. So if you give yourself, a little bit of time on the boss, over time, Whirlwind does massive, massive damage, better than a lot of other builds for building Stricken stacks. The main question here is, can I survive Infernal Maiden's attack as a baby barb? And the answer you're going to find out here very shortly is no, I can't. And that's fine. I got plenty of time. Like I said, I could do way higher than this, as she just obliterates me instantly. And you can see I'm not happy about it. But, with a bit more Paragon, with a little bit of better gear, you will be able to survive against the bosses and hopefully not die like this. Keep in mind that now that I'm fighting the boss, do you notice that I'm no longer manually rending? You don't see those little stutter steps anymore. Why? Well, it's the same concept. The reason why you manually rend in the Rift is to trigger area damage. But area damage doesn't work on one target. So with just one target, you just hold down right, oh, boom, instant death. Later me. So if I had a boss like, let's say, Hamlin, that had a ton of friends, then you would be, one-shot me again, then you would be manually rending once his friends came out to apply area damage to deal more damage. You must understand that. If you're going to play Whirlwind, Whirlwind applies rend, and rend does all of your damage. Whirlwind does nothing. And if you apply rend from Whirlwind, it doesn't apply area damage. This is not needed for speed farming or T16 farming, but it's absolutely needed in high pushing. When you get to the boss, if they're a single target boss, you just hold right click. And if they're an AoE boss, if there's a bunch of adds, then when the adds are close, which they will be close because you can pull them, then you manually rend to get them down. Make sure that you understand that. So don't worry, I'm posting a lot of just clips right now to show you how everything goes. But don't worry, I'll make a full guide on every single good build going into Season 27, so you know exactly what to do, and you'll be able to dominate no matter what class you want to play on. Oh, Infernal Maiden, one final kiss for me. I'm fully red, so because I'm red, I gotta go back and repair. But we are going to have the last laugh here. Unfortunately for her, I had a million minutes to kill her, so I'm going to come back when I'm a Paragon 2000 Barbarian and get my revenge for sure. But I think this is going to be something like the rank 3 overall Barb clear and the number 1 Whirlwind clear, so got him, boys. All right, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.